Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ecto. My name's Michelle. I'll be your host. This episode is brought to you by King's Cannabiz. They are awesome. They sponsor all our shows. You guys rock. Okay, so this episode, I have two stories for you. One I'm just going to call the Hitchhiker because it's pretty wild. And then the other one is just called Brooches, and you'll see why. Okay, the first one starts off with my friend Cheryl. I'm going to try to do as much of the story in what she wrote me, so that way I can really, convey it to you guys. Okay, she said, a few years ago, I was going through a divorce. She said, I didn't want to be your typical woman who sits at home and eats her misery away and just go in despair. My husband had cheated on me, and I felt horrible, but I didn't want to just sit and wallow in it. I can get that. Excuse me. And I started thrill seeking, which everything from bungee jumping to rock climbing, just anything to get my mind off of it, and I even started a blog. One of the things that was brought to my attention that was a thrill was ghost hunting. It's something that I had never done before. And I thought, well, what the hell? I'll try it. Well, we were all supposed to meet at this abandoned house on the outskirts of town. By all, I mean a few of my friends that were into this kind of thing, and another friend who was like me, just a thrill seeker. I wasn't able to get there at the same time they were. I showed up late. But I was sent this, I guess you can call it a prayer, by text, and I was told that I was supposed to say those words before I ever got out of my car. I was running late, so I didn't bother with it. I thought, that's just crazy. I don't need to do that. So we're at the location, and weird things started happening right away. Things started flying off shelves, things started moving, and one of the ghost hunters said, it's never this active here. I don't know what's going on. So, as I progressed through the house, I started feeling burning sensation on my arm, where I actually looked down and I seen scratches on my arm. I seen scratches on my legs. I couldn't believe what was going on. So they said, let's get out of here. This thing's physical. It doesn't want us here. And they said it seemed to focus on me. Well, when I got to my car, I felt dizzy. I felt like I couldn't even stand up. So one of my friends offered to drive my car and take me home. So I said, okay. On the way home, I almost felt like this heaviness, just a sadness and just overwhelming sense of just despair and disgust. And when I finally got to my house, they asked if I wanted them to stay, and I said no, I would be fine. But that night was one of the craziest nights of my life. I just felt horrible, like everything that had just happened to me with the divorce and everything just all came out, and I just felt like this loneliness and sadness. And I seriously contemplated suicide that night. I couldn't even believe what was happening to me. And then the next day, the same thing. The very same thing. Just despair, and I started eating and started drinking. Oh my gosh. I ate and drank until I couldn't hardly hold my head up anymore. A friend I hadn't seen since the night of the hunt had come over and couldn't believe their eyes, said that I had dark circles under my eyes and just had never seen me that way. He showed his concern for me, and we started becoming a little more closer than just friends as time went by. But when that started happening, he started getting scratched, like he would come to see me and scratches would show up on his arm and his legs, and he would get these mystery bruises and all this stuff. Oh, wow. Suddenly one day I was thrown against a wall out of nowhere. I was walking down my hall and something shoved me against the wall, and I heard a whisper in my ear, get rid of him. Oh my gosh. Said, get rid of him. And I got so scared I ran out of my house and I didn't go back. But while I was staying in a hotel, even in the hotel, I started feeling again this overwhelming sense of sadness. And when my friend would come to see me in the hotel, again, violence would break out. Even stuff in the hotel room was getting knocked over, like chairs and things like that. We knew we needed help. We went and talked to the other group of ghost hunters, and they started going through the night and everything with us. And the first thing they asked was the prayer. Did you say the prayer right? And I looked down, and I remembered I hadn't said it. And they all kind of looked at each other and gasped and said, that was your protection. That keeps them from harming you. That keeps them from attaching to you or jumping you. Of course, I didn't know what any of that meant. All I wanted to do was, just do something I hadn't done before that night. So they got in touch with a few people, and pretty soon this medium comes to my house. And I couldn't believe it. This guy was huge. He was over 6'4", and I'm guessing around 300 pounds. And just looked mean. He had that look on his face like he could be a mass murderer. I could not believe they had brought this man to my house. Pretty soon he sits down and he tells me that the person with me is not male, it's a female. I was like, what? I thought for sure the ghost was a male because I could have swore I heard a male's voice. Said it's a female who killed herself in the house that you guys were investigating. And she attached to you and brought you home because she was attracted to your pain. Wow, okay. He said, I can't help you. But he did get me in contact with somebody, and it was a woman. What? Oh, a woman Catholic priest. I didn't know they had those. He said, and she came to my house and told me that I would basically need an exorcism. That this thing was attached to me and she was not going anywhere. So for several weeks I had to go indoor sessions. Some sessions I don't even remember. And I would not allow them to record it because I didn't even want to see it. But they did put a secret recording of the last day. And you could hear a voice coming out of me that was not mine. Oh my God. This person had attached to me because they were neglected in life, and okay, that makes sense. And they were basically attracted to her because of her pain to the divorce, but she used thrill-seeking as her way to mask the pain, but this ghost person actually was able to hone in on that. Alright, fast forward. Hold on, let me get past this. The exorcisms were grueling some days. They seemed to last forever, when in fact they only lasted 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't know they did it like in sections like that. Wow. Okay. But that last day I hardly remember, but they recorded and you could hear a voice coming out of me that was not mine, saying I will not let her go. And finally, she was able to get it out of me, and they told me to put tar water down in my house, and that will keep anything and everything out just in case they were still hanging around. They said that they got the ghost/demon to leave me alone, but who knows where they went. Oh, great. So they're probably with somebody else. That's nice. So now I no longer do ghost hunting as a thrill-seeking thing. I don't think anybody should, unless you're going to go with professionals that know what they're doing. I never believed in that kind of stuff, and now I do. Now wherever I go, I carry with me a cross, holy water, and I say prayers constantly, because I never want this to happen again. I'm downplaying a lot of the things that happened to me, but there was a lot. I was bruised, beaten, scratched, and I believe my boyfriend also was. He would wake up with pains in his stomach, his head would hurt, he even had bruises on his ears. I didn't want to get too graphic in what happened to us, but it was horrible. And I brought it back. It was me. I'm the one that did it. But at the same time, if they hadn't happened that way, I wouldn't have the boyfriend that I do. So I'm very thankful for that. So out of a crappy relationship, a miserable divorce, and thrill-seeking at a haunted house, I was able to find a person who truly loved me. So in a way it worked out. And yes, it was worth it, but I never want it to happen again, and I definitely don't want it to happen to anybody else. Can you please tell your viewers not to play around with these kind of things? It's not healthy for them, and it's definitely not healthy for a spirit trying to get revenge on somebody. Well, me personally, I think every person's experience is going to be different. And I am absolutely agree with the fact that you shouldn't dabble. That's just not... If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the right kind of protection, you don't... I mean, me personally, I don't believe in poking the bear. You shouldn't just mess around with going into a haunted house just to go there. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you happen upon it, but if you're going there on purpose to bug dead people, you're kind of asking for whatever you get. So, that's just my opinion. Others may not agree with it, but that's just what I think. Especially when you don't know, the situation. You don't know how this person died or whatever. You don't know the anger. You don't know anything. You don't know how strong they are. I mean, it's just not something you should mess with. So, that's my humble opinion for the day. I know there's people out there that'll be like, I don't think so, you're crazy. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to thrill seek, go skydiving or something, jump off one of those base jumpers or whatever, don't do stuff like that, Not to mention the fact, you also put other people's lives at risk, because as long as there's people like you who want to pay to do these stupid things, then, sorry, I shouldn't have called it stupid, do these crazy things, then you're also putting them at risk too. So, but I know there's people out there that are going to do it. I used to do it too. I used to be that one that like, oh, let's go check it out. I heard, so-and-so went into a trance and almost died. Oh, cool, let's go check it out. We all do it, so. But I'm just telling you, please don't dabble. Because that's something that she did and something terrible happened to her. Even though something good came out of it, it's still something bad happened to her, so. And especially if you do this and people tell you to do stuff like, do a protection prayer, do the protection prayer, Don't go skating around it. I mean, that's what you should be doing, so. Yeah. Oh, sorry, here's a follow-up. Oh, wow. Here's a follow-up. She says she went down on the thing and then it says follow-up. The spirit is not completely gone, but no longer attached to me, is what the medium said. That they will... Oh, okay. The tar water keeps him away from me and my house, but they are still around my building. They are seeking something. He's trying to get them to move on. Oh, so they're still there. Oh, my God. So still around. Oh, crap. So, but I don't understand. I thought maybe I'm wrong. I thought places were haunted. I thought spirits were attached to things, but I guess they're attached to people, too. That, like, maybe she's looking for somebody else. That's creepy. And the fact that it's a female, that's wild. So, all right. Well, Cheryl, keep us posted. I hope everything works out, and as long as you're safe and happy right now, that's the main thing. And so, hopefully, they're able to get her moved on. So, wow, that's insane. Okay, story number 2. This one is really, it's a neat story, but it's kind of crazy. At first, I didn't believe it. I was like, there's no way, but the person who sent it to me, I do believe, because they just have no reason to make up anything, and they're not getting anything out of it. So, all right, who do we have here? Juanita. Okay, Juanita. I'm going to read your story here. And this is either spiritual or this is just like the most number one crazy ass coincidence thing I have ever heard of in my life. But I'm thinking more along the lines that your relatives that have passed away somehow guided you to this, because it's just crazy. Okay, the story first starts here. She said, when my grandmother died, she had left these 3 brooches. She said they weren't expensive brooches, but they were. They weren't expensive brooches, but they were in the realm of, costly. Okay. In other words, they were worth money, just not a lot. Okay. And they were kind of gaudy brooches. One was a dragonfly, one was a bird, and one was a ladybug. They were different colored jewels, and they were 14 karat gold. Okay. Were they jewels? Oh, some were glass, some were jewels. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to read this jumbled stuff here. Okay. Said, my sister ended up with the dragonfly, which everybody was kind of jealous of her because we all kind of wanted the dragonfly. But then there was the bird and the ladybug. Well, it disappeared one night in the house. Nobody knew what happened to it, and then come to find out, our nephew had actually stolen a bunch of items and went and sold them. Oh my God, that's horrible. Okay, so my brooch and my other cousin's brooch ended up being sold. So my sister was the only one that had the brooches, which of course we were all jealous. Well, of course. One day my sister and I had gone shopping. We always did this once a week. We would go to different thrift stores and things like that to, just pass the time, and we like looking at old stuff. Well, that day she wore the brooch, and I just want to strangle her because I wanted that brooch. But anyways, she says LOL. We were looking around the store, and I know what you're thinking. This story's going to see where this brooch is in this store, but no, it goes way beyond that. That day we didn't find much at that thrift store, so we decided to go to lunch. We went to a sit-down chain restaurant. I'm guessing that's like Applebee's or Denny's or something. But they were packed. So we didn't want to wait in line. We were both starving, so we decided to go to a fast food place. In the fast food place, we'd gotten our food to sit down, and when I looked over, I seen this woman wearing a brooch, and it looked like a bird. And I couldn't believe it. That was my grandmother's brooch. I know it was. So we had asked the lady where she had bought it from. She said that she had bought it from a pawn store across town, a pawn shop across town. Said she thought it was neat and she picked it up, and I asked her how much she paid for it. She kind of looked at me strangely, but said that she paid $20 for it. I instantly offered her $50. I told her that I would give her $50 if she would let me look at it, and $75 if it was a match. And the lady looked at her weird and said, okay. So she gave me the brooch, and indeed, on the back, there were my grandmother's initials engraved on it. I could not believe it. It just freaked me out. So I instantly gave her the money. So that lady made out like a bandit, basically. For some she didn't even want. So now we have the dragonfly and the bird. We couldn't believe it. So we got the directions to the pawn shop where she was. We were determined we were going to find that third one. We went there, and no avail. It was not there. And we asked about the bird brooch, and the lady that was working in the back came out and said she remembered distinctly. She said an elderly lady brought it in and pawned it. And I said, don't you mean a young man? So no, an elderly lady said she bought it from a young man, and she decided she didn't like it, so she pawned it. She couldn't have pawned it for much if the other lady bought it for $20. So we were heartbroken. We couldn't believe it. We got so close and couldn't find it. So since we were on that side of town, we seen a thrift store across the way in a strip mall. It was a small one that we've never really gone to before. So we decided to go over there. And it was more like a hodgepodge shop, where basically it's like there's no rhyme or reason for anything. Like everything's scattered about and things. So we kind of both looked at each other with our noses wrinkled because we're thrift store snobs. But we decided to go in there anyways. So we went in, and things were very dusty and disorganized and lots of trip hazards. You know the kind of place I'm talking about. So we started going through things and didn't find much. And my sister said, "Hey, look, there's some old books in the back." So we went back there and we were looking through these old books. Some of them were so old the pages felt like they were gonna, crumble off if you touched them. But they were very much not taken care of. So we looking around. Suddenly my sister turned white as a ghost. And I looked at her, I said, "What is wrong with you?" And she was looking up. So I turn around and I look up, and there was a ladybug brooch sitting in front of a book on the top shelf. The book's name was Edna, which was our grandmother's name. Oh, come on. We took the brooch down and the book. The book's name was Edna, which was the name of our grandmother. And there was a ladybug brooch, and turned it around. Sure enough, it had my grandmother's. The marks for my grandmother had put on were etched on the back. We couldn't believe it. We were both elated. We were all excited. We went to the counter to instantly pay for it. And we asked how much that was, and we told them the story. They were so happy with the story that they actually gave it to us for free. Oh my gosh. So we decided to go back and buy the book too, even though most of the pages were missing. The binding was torn apart. But we decided to buy that book too. And the book was $12, which is money well spent, I think. Alright. So let me get this straight. Okay, hold on, wait, there's more. Oh, so we went back, we gave the ladybug to the cousin who it was supposed to go to. She was just so thrilled. Nobody could believe the story. It was insane. Everything to happen that day was chance. What was it? Okay, so basically the grandmother died. And these 3 pieces of jewelry, these brooches, the dragonfly, the bird, and the ladybug, were supposed to be handed down to the 2 sisters and the cousin. The one sister got hers right away. The other 2 decided to leave theirs overnight and come back. One of the nephews had stolen it and pawned a bunch of stuff. Brooch is gone. So then later, her and her sister, who go to thrift stores all the time, were shopping. They didn't find anything at their normal thrift store. Then they went to go to their normal restaurant, which was full, so they went to a fast food place. They ran into a lady there who was wearing the bird brooch. Okay, make sure I got this right. The bird brooch, who claimed that she bought it at a pawn shop. So they bought that from her. They go to the pawn shop. The other brooch wasn't there. So they see a thrift store across the street that they don't normally go to, and it's old and run down and dusty and dirty and trip hazards and all these things all over the place, and they go through it. They don't find anything. As they're getting ready to leave, one of the sisters sees old books. She likes old books, so they go to look at these old books. And in the back, where the books are, way up high, they see a brooch sitting in front of a book called Edna, which was their grandmother's name. And it was, in fact, the other missing brooch, which the store owner gave them. But they still ended up purchasing the book, Edna, from him. Oh my gosh. That is so insane. That is insane. So yeah, I totally believe, honey, I'm sorry, honey, and I believe that your family, your grandmother's spirit was guiding you that day. She was guiding you back to what she left you. I truly believe that. I truly, truly believe that. So, oh my gosh. Wow. That is insane. So, yeah, I definitely believe in stuff like that, and I believe that that was not chance, that was not coincidence, that was your grandmother or your family spirits, the guides, guiding you to where you needed to go that day. So, wow, insanity. Alright, so those are the 2 stories for today. I hope you guys enjoyed them. That's crazy. Y'all keep giving me these stories. I am enjoying the hell out of these stories. They are just so awesome. I mean, I don't enjoy hearing the ones about people, my friends being hurt, of course, but still, I enjoy hearing these stories. They're just crazy, especially this last one. That was wild. So, please do send me some stuff. Alright, so that's the end of this podcast. I want to give a couple shout outs to some groups. True Horror Junkies, which is Denise Harris's horror group on Facebook. Horror Three Ring Circus, which is like the lighter side of horror, which is my group, and well, Adriana Jack's group, but she's basically running it right now. So y'all go over there and check that out. Art of Darkness, and also please go check out KBLP LLC on Facebook and KBLP LLC 4 on YouTube. Go check out the shows, check out stuff, and thank you again to King's Cannabiz for sponsoring our shows. It's really awesome that y'all do that. So y'all have a great Saturday. Be safe, be happy. If you're going to go see houses, make sure you do your protection prayers. If not, just don't go do it. Just don't watch it on TV. It's much better. Anyways, y'all have fun, and we will talk to you later. Be safe. Bye.